Hello, everyone. Great audio. 10 out of 10. Hi. Hello again from the White Void. I moved. And so the week I moved, sorry, let the cat out. Little cat cameo there. All right. We got showered with content this year, thank God. Now there is. All right. Much to talk about, much to discuss. Get on my level, you peasants. Wow, Daniel. Remember, for 32 months. I don't even know. I haven't even been alive for that long. Anyway, what a crazy month February was for God of War fans. The remakes got announced. Sons of Sparta is out. I platinumed it. I'm gonna make a review shortly. I moved, and now there's like so much news going on within the span of 2 weeks that I wanted just to make a catch-up stream just to discuss everything with you guys. The Geek Artist, hello, Mr. Chronicle. Hello, brothers. We went from zero content for 4 years to one of the best years for God of War community. I mean, 4 years. I mean, we had Valhalla. That's pretty good. So what I want to do here, first of all, I want to set up some music a little bit. So we have, okay. This is the music playing. I'm going to copy this into this. I'm very sorry, everyone. Okay, so now we should have music and me and this, right? We're all good? Shit. Thoughts on the Faye game. One thing at a time, please. Let's get one thing at a time. All right, here we go. So, here we go with the live action first look at this. Here's my quick thoughts. First of all, this is a very poor choice for the first reveal because it's a promo photo, so it's like just a background photo for basically, what's the word? Basically for, promo purposes. That's not how it's going to look. But also, of course, there's a lot of issues with how they presented this, how they presented Kratos specifically. Everyone said their piece about this. Someone says this is the worst thing ever. Look, it's a little more complicated than that, but gonna be overwhelmed with the chat. There is no music. Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna bother anymore. Anyway, Kratos looks homeless. Hasbulla and Matt Damon. Okay, so look, I'm not gonna be rude to the Atreus actor. I think the Atreus actor looks fine and it looks good. Obviously, they're trying to be extremely accurate to the games. But for me personally, the biggest issue as always is not as always, but it's Kratos, right? Because it looks like it's Ryan Hurst with Kratos makeup, right? Everyone's talking about his face. Everyone's talking about the beard. The beard is the biggest issue. I don't know why it looks like this. I think fixing that would be much. Sorry, it's all too clean. Should be more worn out. That's a part of it. I need a Mimir spin-off game, Lade. Yeah, one day. To clean, there is some truth to that. I mean, obviously, it's extremely accurate to the game. I would say this is a little too clean. Like, if you look at the original, game model, they certainly aged it up a little bit. This looks pristine, right? So if they could age it up, I don't know. They said production has started, so that might be it. I'm not, It's also, like, this pose is very weird. Like, Kratos doesn't really lean down like that. His mouth is open. It's just an interesting choice for the first look. It's not necessarily indicative of the quality of the show, but it's obviously everyone's freaking out about it, so they made a mistake here with how they presented this. The obvious foam rock doesn't help either. Yeah, this show, I remember when it was announced because it was pretty much right after I started this channel, and I've had the same concerns about it the whole time that are kind of being realized. The concerns is you can't make it look as good as the game because it's a fantastical world, fantastical characters. I don't know how they're gonna, you know, you have stuff like Alfheim, you have like the dragon that's gonna look out of place because it's CGI. In the game, it all looks seamless, right? Because it's all computer generated. This is gonna be, they're gonna have an uphill battle to fight to make it look real, and they're already struggling to I guess, impress audiences with the look of the protagonist, which is kind of the most important thing to nail down, right? If you don't have your Kratos nailed down, then this belief is belief is suspended, right? He looks like if Thor went on a David Goggins workout schedule and had a buzz cut. TC could have played Kratos in the live action show. Yeah, TC, yeah, would have been interesting. Remember live chat. Yeah, I have. Do I have live chat on? Yeah, I do. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, so also think the bolt cap looks atrocious. Yes, it does. The bolt cap, you can see the seams. I wish I knew how to zoom in on this. Okay, here. Yeah, let's go in. This is not the best quality, but hyper analysis, right? The seams in in here is embarrassing, honestly. The beard is the worst offender here. Everything else looks fine. Like everything else is obviously extremely accurate to the game, so we can't really complain. Jarvis and hands. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, abs aren't there. That's sad. His, he looks fine. Like the rest is clearly extremely well accurately made. This is too clean. Atreus, again, I mean, I don't have anything against the kid. Like, I don't want to be mean to the kid. He looks good. The outfit looks obviously extremely. Sorry, he's like in the corner. I can't really do much about that. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's not instilling a lot of confidence as someone who's been skeptical about this thing from the very beginning. My question was always this: is this show gonna be better and look better than just the movie cutscenes on YouTube? So far, obviously, the answer is no. Ryan said on his social, don't believe anything you see or something. I'm pretty sure they haven't even started shooting. Well, that's not true because Amazon literally put it out, said now in production. So it's official. It's very official. The kid is fine. The kid, no issues with him. I mean, obviously the acting is the most important thing. We'll see them in motion. We'll see how they color grade the whole thing. This is just a poor first look. This is not ideal. Yeah, the pose is like Kratos is stoic. He's supposed to be standing up, mouth closed. That they didn't really nail that aspect. But we'll have to see more. I don't know. I'm excited about the store commercial. Kratos was better than this. I mean, okay, we're exaggerating here, but I'm definitely excited about the Aesir aspect of this show because they cast all the Aesir, and I'm assuming they're gonna show the Asgard's reaction to the events of 2018 and maybe relationship between like Magni and Modi with the rest of the Aesir. That would be extremely interesting for me personally. But just the general 2018 God of War stuff, I don't know how they can top it because clearly they're emulating it pretty extremely. So is it just gonna be a worse, live action parody almost of the game? I don't know. It's not. I'm not holding my breath about the quality of this, which is unfortunate because we all want this to be a win. He has no tattoos. Who? Atreus or... Well, the Atreus, I don't see if he has the scars there, but imagine my surprise knowing this is not AI. I mean, yeah, AI at this point is so advanced that someone would assume that it's AI, which sucks. The problem with Atreus is the lack of the Neymar of that Brazilian haircut, like the buzz cut. Yeah, I mean... the kid hair needs to be fixed too. Whatever. I'm I'm okay with Atreus personally. Nothing wrong with him. Kratos' beard is the biggest offender here. I think if his beard was like proper and like full, like the game, I think a lot of the issues would be mitigated. But that's what it is right now. Imagine, yeah, okay. Gosh of Warfare. Yeah, John Curtis. Okay, I'm gonna go to my face real quick because I didn't prepare and I want to look up that article. What do you guys want to talk about next? Because there's so much to talk about. I want to talk about it really about the Bluepoint game that got canceled. There's also the stuff that Chris Judge talked about, and then I think we'll finish with the rumors of the Faye game that is pretty much confirmed, I guess, at this point. I don't care that hairstyle, I like these more. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, actually can't see that right thumb either, or where it would be. The right thumb. Oh, yeah, it's, yeah, I guess it's hidden here. Also the nip. Yeah, the live action Kratos nipple is confirmed white, everyone. Congratulations. All right, let me go back here 1 second. Let me look up that Bloomberg article, if I can find it. Sony's, okay, please be free. All right, never mind. Accept. Okay, let me see. Let me find an article that actually, okay. Yep, here it is. Bluepoint continued its work. All right. Here we are. This is kind of weird, but I'm sorry. This website is, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. It's half of the page is going to be covered for some reason. Anyway, this is what I wanted to talk about because this one, out of all the things I might have the most to say. Can I move this so it's, actually, never mind. Can I move, okay. No, not that, this. Yeah, all right. I have the most to say about this. Jim Ryan screwed everything and left. That's kind of, yeah. So, in case you're not familiar, Bluepoint Games, which have a long history with God of War, by the way, because they remade they ported the games on the Greek games on the PS3. That's the versions I've been playing. They also remade Shadow of the Colossus and Demon Souls was a launch title for PS5. So a very high-profile, studio within PlayStation that they bought. They got shut down. Herman Holst shut them down, and Jason Schreier has an article about why this happened, but there's talk about Bloodborne. They pitched Bloodborne remake, blah blah blah. Obviously what I'm interested in is the live action God of War game that they were working on and that got canceled last year. We got some concept art about it, and we found out that it was supposed to take place in Greece. So that was exciting, kind of, depending on what it would have been. And now we have actual details about what it would have been, and it's just blowing my mind, honestly. All right, let's just read this. Following the purchase, Bluepoint continues helping Santa Monica Studio with Ragnarok. We knew that. They were one of the many support studios. After that, the newly acquired studio had ambitions to make its own game rather than co-development or remaking games. Great. At the time, Sony was all in on live service games. We know this. Games designed to continue monetization after launch. One of these games would be Bluepoint's first original title under PlayStation, a live service game in the God of War franchise, which the organization hoped could support several sequels and spin-offs like a smaller version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. When I saw this is literally my biggest nightmare. Turning God of War into the MCU, like that sounds really scary to me. This is exactly what I don't want to happen. Thank you so much, Daniel, for 5 gift memberships. Oh, nice. Enjoy, people. AVG Spartan. Oh, that's cool. Did I miss anything? Yeah, we talked about the live action Kratos stuff and a lot of technical issues. This was devastating hearing Bluepoint gone. Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about all this last year. The fact that they put uh, Bluepoint Games to do a live service God of War game. They've never made a live service game. Like, I mean, again, we already know everything about PlayStation's attempts in the live service sphere. Helldivers 2 is amazing. I love that game. Everything else, I don't know why they even tried. Hearing that they wanted God of War to be a Marvel is horrifying because that means more games, less quality, and I personally obviously I'm very protective for the IP, and for me the most important thing that Santa Monica has a decent amount of involvement with this franchise, right? That's their baby, right? They brought it up. All the senior people at Santa Monica have been there from the start, and just handing it over to Bluepoint, like, okay. But this like reading this, it just, I don't understand. Like, I can't, it's just not, I can't wrap my head around this. Bluepoint began working on a game in which the character Atreus would fall into Hades, according to people familiar with a loose idea for the players to control different versions of aspects of Atreus. So like Atreus Loki, maybe, as they battle through Greek hell, had some sort of cooperative gameplay and ongoing support, although much of the game's design was in flux. So we knew for years that Atreus is going to get a game. Like, when 2018 came out, it was obvious Atreus is going to get a game. This part worries me because I don't want God of War to turn into Call of Duty. Exactly. I mean, we'll see what happens. This seems like 4 years ago, so hopefully those ambitions have kind of quieted down. But Atreus game, a sequel to Ragnarok, obviously this is what they were setting up. And we're finding out that he was supposed to go to Greece. He was supposed to probably die somehow, so he's going to Hades, like his dad, classic, and that he would be stuck in hell, and it would be a co-op live service game as Atreus, so not like a generic like essential multiplayer or whatever. It's Atreus as a live service game, so Atreus would be stuck in Hades like in perpetuity, and like it says here, it was an awkward fit for the studio, which hasn't released an original game since 2006. Never tried to develop a live service game. I mean, that's kind of been the issue with this whole push, is that they get Naughty Dog and Bluepoint to do live service games, which is like, what? Messy. That's a good word, yeah, to describe this. Here's my take. Single player studios should stick to single player games and not be forced to make multiplayer games. Who would have? You're a genius. Maybe we should put you. Okay, sorry, we're back. I don't know. There was some kind of disconnection. Um, Helldivers 2 was made by a studio, Arrowhead, that focus on multiplayer games, and it's great. And everything else they tried to do was live service, like a live action studio. Like, everyone said their piece about this is just blowing. Like, not just the fact that Bluepoint was doing the live service game, that it's God of War live service, and it's Atreus of all things. So I would obviously assume that after Ragnarok, Santa Monica would be working on a Atreus game, and it would be, you know, like any other God of War game, a story-driven single player title. But I just like, I don't know whose idea this was to have Atreus as the protagonist, to have it be a live service co-op game. Because how do you progress the story in any way like that? And I don't have, like, what? Right? We're back. We are back. Bro, your mic just stopped. Is it good now? Okay. Is Hades going to help us in the new God of War 1? Yeah, I think so. I don't think... we can talk about the remakes a little bit later. Have you watched Captain Cuba's video? Explains a lot about the live service game. Yeah, I watched his videos. Yeah, I know there's the whole cut Ragnarok scene with Athena and everything. It's Santa Monica's idea. They didn't want them to use Kratos. Well, here's the thing. Obviously, they would be protective over Kratos. The question is, did they have a choice to appoint Bluepoint and what they were gonna make, or did PlayStation just tell them, okay, we want God of War to be the MCU, so we're giving a God of War spin-off to Bluepoint because they have nothing to do, and we want it to be a live service because that's the thing that prints money. Obviously, that's gonna be a great success for PlayStation, and Concord is gonna be great. That's the question, right? So, like, for me, the most important thing, I don't mind spin-offs. Like Sons of Sparta came out. Obviously, there's a lot of influence from Santa Monica, and clearly they're very excited about this. I don't mind spin-offs or more different kinds of God of War games from different studios, as long as it's something that's coming from a genuine excitement and idea for a game or a character, and that Santa Monica would actually be excited about. Like, I have no doubt Sons of Sparta was something they're actually very excited to have made. This, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, they might have been forced to do this Atreus thing because PlayStation wanted Bluepoint to make more God of War games. I don't know. This is like, that's just, I don't know. If they made a generic live service God of War game, that's fine. And even in Hades, like Ascension multiplayer, but the fact that it's Atreus is honestly blowing my mind. Honestly blowing my mind. Keep in mind the Faye game is not a part of this MCU thing. Well, maybe it, yeah. I mean, it's a project Corey has been working on since making of Raggy. I mean, since before Raggy, he's been talking about making a Faye game or a Faye story since like 2019, I think. I think the idea back then that Corey was working on the space game actually is about the higher plane of existence. I mean, listen, the space game thing was a rumor the whole time. It's just like someone took his words and spun them out, and it became a huge rumor. I don't think it was ever true. Have the spin-offs serve a purpose and not be cash grabs? Right. Obviously, that's like natural. Makes sense. I would be down for a single player Atreus game, not an always online servicing. Yeah, of course. I would be too. If it's Santa Monica or someone else who Santa Monica is backing up creatively, then sure. But this, I mean, again, we talked about this last year. I'm so glad this isn't happening anymore, obviously, but even with the help from Santa Monica, Bluepoint struggled to make much progress and spent several years floundering. So it sounds like there was no idea what to do with this because no one wanted to make this. Because why would anyone want to make an Atreus live service game in Hades and not like just a live service God of War game or a spin-off single player God of War game? Because Bluepoint makes single player games. I don't know. Even like Demon Souls, it's what is it? It's Souls like single player guy with a sword kind of game. They were forced for this live service thing, and it bothers me a lot. Yeah, I mean, now they're paying for it. Marathon's coming out in next week? We'll see how that does. In January 25, Sony canceled the live service game. We know this. When we broke the news, a company spokesman told me that Sony was working closely with Bluepoint to determine the next project, and then it goes into Bloodborne and blah blah blah. This is what a disaster, man. I don't know. The mind of a corporate executive is a mystery to me. The space game is misconception, correct. The space game is Intergalactic, the one who spread the rumor, thought that Santa Monica, when it's actually studio in Santa Monica, which is also Naughty Dog. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're all down the street. Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, and Insomniac are like all on one street. So this is... will the God of War community accept a female lead? I'm seeing mixed reaction. Listen, we'll get to the Faye game. The female lead thing, I mean, that's so, okay, that's embarrassing, honestly. Let me go over here for a second and switch to... Can you hear the music now? Probably. I don't know. Anyway, I was going to talk a little bit about what Chris Judge said a couple of weeks ago. That was another thing. Remember when that happened? Okay. here we are. Oh, this is a little too close. Excuse me. Let me reframe this real quick. All right. Here we are. Okay. So, another thing that happened a little bit ago is Chris Judge got someone got him on the someone wired themselves and got still no music. FYI, I know I'm not gonna bother with the music anymore. I don't know how to make it work. Maybe I can. Advanced. Okay. Okay. This might actually work now. Okay, let me know if there's music. Sorry about that. There's a lot of technical difficulties today. Oh boy. Anyway. The disrespect is what happens. Imagine being nice to fans and talking with them just for them to record you and this happened. Yeah, this kind of started the snowball rolling about the whole thing. I wanted to talk a little bit about what Chris said, obviously, but also the fact that this is fucking embarrassing that anyone would do this. Is fucking awful. Some YouTuber, what's their name? That sounds like some rude word I don't even want to read out loud. Anyway, what happened is Chris Judge goes to conventions a lot to hang out with fans and get their Leviathan access signed and stuff like that. And some YouTuber wired themselves. They were holding a phone and they recorded a conversation with Chris Judge, and he confirmed some things that we already knew and understood, like that TC Carson is going to be Kratos in the remake. It's mostly about the remake. Then we got the news that then he suggesting that the Judge is back working with Santa Monica or in a separate God of War project, unrelated to the studio's early work, beginning or Sons of Sparta. So basically, what he said is. Starting to see, will boast all new technology and more stuff and new fighting systems. So people started freaking out about the quote-unquote new fighting system. All is good. Okay, great. So everyone's like, oh no, they're going to change the fighting system. I think what this actually means is that it's the old fighting system. Because for Chris Judge, this is a new fighting system because he's not familiar with this. He always had to do the Norse system, obviously. So I think what this means is that it's actually good news. Because this means that they're going to have I'm pretty sure the hack and slash. Yeah, it's going to be the old camera. That's my assumption. I think the fact that he's saying it's a new combat system means that it's actually the old one and the one that he's unfamiliar with. But also, why would Chris Judge know anything about it? He's just chatting up with some person. Old is gold. Combo counter, maybe. I'm sure. We'll talk about this. I make a video about it and everything about the expectations for the remake. But then. He said, where is it in the article? I don't see it. But basically, he was like, yeah, our thing is being revealed in late summer or something like that, which is obviously the thing that everyone's like, oh my God, new God of War in the summer, which we now know what it is pretty much. The fact that someone recorded him saying that is pretty gross, is very gross, actually. Boy. Hey, ABG Spartan. Congrats on getting a membership. I'll tell you about the new fighting system when we get to talk about the Faye game. I believe it's related. That's very interesting. I'm still hopeful, still coping for not changing a lot from the Greek games. I don't think they're going to change much at all. The more I thought about it, the more clear it becomes that they want to preserve the legacy and everything around the Greek games, like the changes in the Norse games or even the way Sons of Sparta turned out. I think for them, so Santa Monica is in the best interest to keep them as close to the original as possible, both because it's fucking awesome and because it's less work, and also because of the thematic and story implications of how it feels, right? This is the anger story of Kratos, and the way everything worked in the Greek games is exactly as it should be. So I don't think they're gonna mess with it very much. You think they're gonna make the Greek trilogy to over the shoulder? No. I think they're gonna keep the combat classic square square triangle, fixed camera angle. I don't think they're gonna really mess with it very much. So with Faye, it will be a shield and axe again. Yes, we can get to Faye in a second. Yeah, so Chris Judge basically got a spoiled that there's going to be a God of War reveal in the summer, even because he didn't know he was being recorded. So now Santa Monica and Sony are probably going to like be much more. There were some actor leaks before, but this is pretty significant. And I don't know how this is going to reflect on Chris Judge specifically, whether he's going to be restricted in where he can go or what he can say. He's going to be obviously scared to talk to anyone, which is the worst. And obviously it reflects poorly on us, the creators, because people are trying to like get clickbait stuff out of people all the time, and it worked in this instance, and that's pretty, that sucks. So yeah, late summer is when we're gonna get our new game, and all right. Nipple. Gypsy. Hi, Gypsy. Chris Judge will never talk about God of War even with his wife. Even if they record it, isn't Judge or any actor not allowed to say stuff because of NDA? Yeah. I mean, it either slipped out or he's just like kind of chatting about it. It's weird that he said it. It's weird. Like, obviously, this shouldn't have gotten out. He shouldn't have said it in the first place, but the fact that this happened is unfortunate. I mean, stuff is leaking all over the place. So weird. So with Faye, yeah, okay. He is so sweet. He might do that just for the fans. I mean, I don't think he's gonna lie about this kind of thing. That would be weird to say like, our thing is coming on in the summer. Enjoy God of War soon, and then a fan is waiting for it in the summer and it's not happening. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. When do you think it will release? PS6 28 or sooner? Well, there is. Are you talking about the remake or which Santa Monica game are you talking about? Because we're gonna talk about. All right, let's get to the juicy details of the biggest probably news, the most recent. Okay, one second. Let me find an article here that we can look through. Okay. Also IGN, great. We love IGN. God of War developer Sony Santa Monica reportedly making an action-focused spin-off focused on Faye. So, following the news of reveal late summer, a bunch of leakers of, I don't know who they are, I don't know, whatever. Jason Schreier said a while ago that Corey's game is not a new IP, but it will feel like one. Which obviously implies that it's a God of War spin-off of some sort, and you think it'll get revealed at State of Play and maybe Summer Games Fest? Yeah, I think Sony's going to have some kind of summer showcase, and that's where they're going to announce this. So, Grace's wife, the mother of Triss, whispers of what exactly Sam was working on growing over the past 2 weeks. That's very true. Studio's next is not a new IP, but might feel like one. Exactly, right. Over the weekend, the LinkedIn of a writer was widely shared around. I looked up her name. She was a senior writer at Santa Monica for 5 years, and it slipped. Describing a new franchise within the God of War universe. Then notorious leaker Nate the Hate, I don't know this guy, I don't know how notorious he is, that the game would center on the character of Faye. Something IGN also understands to be accurate. Yes, the game is set within the God of War universe, and the lead character would be Faye, who's decent, blah, blah, blah. Current plan revealed this year and release first half 2027, barring any delay. So, wow. God of War Trilogy remake instead of remake, so one combined game. I don't think so. I think they're going to keep them separate because the mechanics of each game are different in terms of combat and abilities that you get. Mostly. When do you think the remake will release? During PS6 or sooner? Okay. There's so much to talk about, guys. We're not even talking about the remakes right now. They're the same folks who leaked God of War Remake and the Metroidvania game. Okay. I think Sony is so greedy they won't share their biggest titles in Summer Game Fest. No, this is too big for like third-party Jeff reveal. This is going to be a Sony thing. They're going to reveal it. As a full remake, I mean. Can someone explain to me why parts of the community are angry with the remakes, like Resident Evil 2? There's always doubt about how much they're going to change, because people can get extremely overprotective about this kind of stuff, and that's understandable, you know? People don't want things changed. There's definitely concerns about things being moved around in the remakes, so that's understandable. But the Faye game, I'm not gonna boast too much, but I told you guys. I told you guys a month after Ragnarok came out that we're getting a Faye game, because Adam J. Harrington, the voice of Sindri, kind of leaked it in December of 2022. So I've personally known that this was happening for a long time. I knew in my heart that they're making a Faye game. Corey talked a lot about wanting to tell the Faye story. It's all lining up. The horn blowing situation, the Jormungandr situation, it's all making perfect sense. Am I excited for a Faye game? I'm extremely excited. You can go watch my video, my pitch for the Faye game. There's so much to explore. First of all, because Faye is an extremely interesting character, and second, because we can see the old Norse world, right? The more of a classic Norse world, right? With the giants there, with the Aesir being more, warring, with Odin being a warrior, with Thor who's on a genocidal campaign, this whole thing, right? Vanaheim, Faye versus Thor situation. Faye game needs some crazy good combat to succeed, I think. Faye versus Thor, exactly. I mean, come on. The Dwarven Rebellion, Brock and Sindri, obviously, more of that. As a Norse nerd and a Norse shill, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted this really bad, and I'm very excited about this. Mid confirmed he works at SMS. Yeah, listen, the clues are all there. It's just for people to pick up. In Ragnarok, the hints were they were pretty thick, laid on pretty thick, and it wasn't that hard to deduce that this is what's happening. Faye versus Kratos, of course. Watch my video, it's all there. I don't know if there's any more details, just the fact that it's happening. Yeah, I mean, let me just bring up a picture of Faye. So, Faye versus Thor. Yeah, this is a cool picture. Yeah. Okay. This is bad quality, but whatever. So, to add more, the article didn't mention. The Faye game will have gameplay similar to DMC5. That's what I saw. If that's true, I believe the remake is based on it because they realized it's a modern style. I mean, Faye versus Corey. I mean, DMC style is very interesting because that's obviously much more akin to the Greek God of War games with the, all the air combos and everything. And also, Faye will have the axe and the shield. So is she gonna spring around like classic Kratos? I guess that's very interesting. I want this so bad. I mean, come on. What if Faye died because she put part of her soul in the axe and got sick? Okay, I mean, I've never been a fan of the axe has Faye's soul in it kind of theory, but why not? We're gonna find out. If this is very likely true. This is pretty much confirmed by everyone at this point that this is happening. This is gonna answer all our questions. I think this is the missing piece that the God of War fans have been waiting for. With Ragnarok, people were so pissed about all the things that they haven't answered, right? Everyone's like, oh, they forgot to answer who blew the horn, blah, blah, blah. I think this has been the plan all along. This is what Corey's been talking about when they're talking about, do you know how she died? No, it's not confirmed. But I think we're going to find out. I think we're going to find everything out. We're going to find out everything about mid-game speculation. Yeah, thank you for can I pin this? Pin message. Yeah, so everyone knows that I am a prophet. I am an oracle. I know what is true. I know the future. I see what reality is. Um, it's just stupid to see people that they don't want it. Who's we? Well, first of all, there's people who are scared that the protagonist is a woman. Those people. There's nothing you can say to that. I mean, it's like embarrassing. The fact that people are saying that. Do you know about Cooking with Kratos YouTube video? No, not really. I guess that means that the Norse era is finally a trilogy now. Yeah, smartest man alive. The Norse, we knew the Norse games aren't done. There's so much more to explore. Everything is, there's, it's all been there the whole time. It's funny they said they wanted to do a duology and not make it 15 years. I think, well, I think they're talking specifically about the Kratos Ragnarok present day story, because obviously as they built 2018, they built this Norse world. Corey built Faye as a character. Clearly that's where his interest went, so they kind of wanted to, I guess, finish the Norse games in the present so they can make a Faye prequel that kind of explores how we got here with the complete context of Faye as a character and the present of God of War, right? So we know what Faye's deal was. We know that she, didn't want Kratos and Atreus to follow the path of the giants that they laid out. She wanted them to break their fate, right? All that, like all the things in the crater, all the Vanaheim stuff, her anger that we've been seeing in the crater. They laid it all out for the story to exist, right? So they still, I don't think they would have wanted to make a Greek trilogy with Kratos, the same gameplay, so now they can make a spin-off prequel that has different gameplay, but also expands and adds to the story of the Kratos Norse games, right? Stylish combo meter like DMC lol. Corey, please cook. Corey is the cookiest cook of all cooks. So I'm so hyped. We're eating good, man. This is exactly what I wanted. Odin is definitely alive after Ragnarok, I think. I don't think so, man. I'll be honest with you. Sindri stumped him good, but if we see a more classic Odin that's not a mage at all, like, Sleipnir and Spear, just a warrior Odin, that's very possible, right? Obviously Thor's coming back. I think that's how they're gonna expand these Norse characters, because they killed off Thor, they killed off Odin, so they're moving on with those characters, but we can obviously see where they were in their 100 plus years ago, before 2018. Do you think the Faye game will have some planes of existence stuff with Athena? Hugin is still alive. Yeah, I mean the Hugin thing, yeah. So that's very interesting, right? With the plane of existence stuff. Obviously, now that I think his name is Morse, right? He dug in the files and he discovered that there was supposed to be a Atreus post-credit scene, basically, with Athena, and this basically confirms that the rift was connected to Athena and the higher plane all along, which I was skeptical about personally, but it seems like that is the plan. Is the Faye game gonna have it? I'm not sure. That it's possible because of the Jormungandr time travel stuff. That's like, because he disappeared, and the why or how of it, Corey hinted at that being a question. So it's 50-50 on the 50 plane of the existence thing. I agree. I don't know if they want to focus on that in the Faye game. That might be something for Atreus to focus on, right? Because that is very much a Ragnarok, post-Ragnarok kind of storyline. Of course, if they're gonna bring in the fallen god stuff in there as canon, whoever ends up in Egypt, whether it's Kratos and Atreus, I think that's how they're going to insert that. I think the Faye game is very much a Norse stuff-focused game. I don't think they were going to deal with any of Athena stuff, because Faye's not really connected to that. It's much more of a Kratos situation. Maybe she also knew about the rift. Yeah, who knows? Like, what are they going to insert? almost 8 years for the Faye game, dude. Like, that's huge. Yeah, I mean, again, we don't know how long it's been in development for. There's also the Ariel Lawrence game. She's been directing a game for years. This might be it, actually. I don't know if Corey's actually directing this game. You think they will remake Chains of Olympus, Ghost of Sparta, and Ascension after this trilogy remake? That's tough. I hope so. I really would like them to. At least put the PSP games on the... Like, port them, man. I don't know what the deal is. Unfortunately, the spin-offs aren't going to be as profitable to produce as the main trilogy, so I don't know if it really makes sense monetarily. But if they have the infrastructure from the Greek trilogy remake, it's possible. At least I'm hopeful for it. Ghost of Sparta, I mean, a remake for Ghost of Sparta would be so sick. They need to make Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta available on PS5 because Sons of Sparta is like integral. These games are integral in understanding that one, right? I'm glad they're making another Norse game because what the fuck do you mean there's only 2 Norse games? The Greek era got 8 games, for fuck's sake. I agree. 100% agree. I wanted more Norse stuff. 1, 2, 3 are very good. Essential and Chains of Olympus particularly are slop. Okay, favorite word of the year for everyone. Ascension and Chains are the weakest God of War Greek games for sure. I don't, it's still important to have them available. They're still part of the history, right, of the legacy. Am I wrong, or wasn't Tyr by Faye's side during her time of being alive? Yeah, so there is a painting in Tyr's temple in 2018 where Tyr is standing next to a woman, and I think that's Faye, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tyr is a part of this game as well, and they show the whole, like, resistance versus the Aesir. There's the whole fight for Tyr's temple, and then Jormungandr shows up and falls into the lake, and Odin and Tyr kidnap... Odin and Thor kidnap Tyr, and the temple is flooded by the serpent. So that's the thing that I am really excited to see, personally. So Tyr appearing, like the classic, God of War properly Tyr is very possible as well. Ascension multiplayer remake, I mean, that's honestly not... they're keeping the servers alive for Ascension. In the God of War 1 and 2 novels, Athena seems to be the main character that pulls the strings in Olympus. She was planning for ultimate control all along since God of War 1. Well, I don't really consider the novels canon for the games, but yes, I mean, that's kind of a part of the mythology as well. Athena is the wisdom goddess and also Zeus's most trusted, so it makes sense for her to kind of assert control. I hope the next God of War game have better and deeper story than God of War Ragnarok, like 2018. Yes, I mean, again, it's Corey, right? Steering the ship, allegedly. We don't know. But a more focused story would be much better because Ragnarok, in terms of plot, had way too much going on. It was basically a massive setup for this game, it seems, because they get to introduce Odin and Thor and the Rift, and maybe, if that's involved, all those stuff. And then in the Faye prequel, we already know all these characters. We don't need to bother explaining who they are, what their deal is, because we've known them from the Greek games. So, from the Kratos Norse games. So hopefully it's much more of a focused story on Faye and her struggle, and Brock and Sindri and the Aesir and Heimdall, whatever, Heimdall is the Aesir, I don't know why I said that, are more of a background kind of thing for her story. Just keep Eric out of the story. Eric is the creative director of Santa Monica now. If you look at the credits for Sons of Sparta, he is basically where Corey used to be, and now Corey is like above as well, so... yeah, I think Ragnarok should have been 2 games. Yes, it should have. But, bro, what about Forseti? Maybe we'll see the mysterious Norse FBI agent. I am very hopeful we're going to see more Aesir in this game. Like, this is the prime place for it, right? Like, the war for the temple and everything, like exploring more gods, where did they all go, all of that. There's definitely more possibility to explore more Aesir gods. Is Atreus really Kratos' son? Yeah, 100%. Come on, that's one of those theories that doesn't make any sense to me. He literally has Spartan rage and Kratos' like tattoo outline. There's like zero doubt that he's Kratos' son. 2018 story is really nice. There's max 8 characters minus the ghost from the side quest. Vidar in the Faye game? That'd be cool. Vengeance, God of Vengeance, yeah. 2018, this game is going to have more characters than 2018 for sure, but they're familiar characters. They're building, they're not introducing all this stuff. We already know what's going on. So hopefully it's a little more focused in that regard. Paternity test. Yeah, they gotta do one battle after another. Crazy dude. For me personally, Ragnarok didn't click, but this Faye game might win me over completely. I'm so hyped. Yeah, I mean, I hope they, address the issues with Ragnarok. If Ragnarok was a more focused story with less going on, it would have been much better. But, considering this has been seemingly the plan all along, this is how it is. I just hope that they are definitely more character focused this time around than having all these plot lines and all these character arcs they're trying to resolve. I hope that they learned from Ragnarok, and hopefully Corey might be more focused on character like 2018. Imagine if we get to see Baldur before he went cray-cray. Yeah, well, Baldur is young relatively, so we might see him as a kid, if anything. That would be interesting. Actually, so Freya got banished to Midgard, and Atreus, I think, is Baldur is like 20 years old or something when that happens. Hi, Chronicler. Hi. I'm really excited for the Faye spin-off, but at the same time, it pisses me off how they could have put 50% of the Faye game resources in making Ragnarok better. Ragnarok did not lack resources. Ragnarok was big enough as it is. Ragnarok needed to be smaller, if anything, or 2 games. Like, this is what Corey had planned out, right? He wanted 2 Norse games, and then he wanted this game. And, I mean, all of the resources put into Ragnarok are very likely to be put into this because the Norse aesthetic, all the realms, all the characters, all the culture and lore is established already, right? So hopefully that kind of cuts a lot of the pre-production stuff in terms of visual and world building stuff and focuses more on the actual narrative and on the combat. So I think Ragnarok's scale is actually beneficial for this game because it needs to do less. I don't know if they're going to reuse assets or something, but it's certainly helpful in terms of like having all the Vanaheim and the crater stuff. It's all set up, right? Like we know what it's going to look like. We know like what the cultures are like and stuff like that. So that element of it is certainly the Ragnarok's existence certainly helps this game out. Please give Atreus some good weapons. The bow ain't enough. I don't know what's going on with the Atreus game. That's the confusing part now, right? Because we're gonna do a Bluepoint live service Atreus game. That's canceled. Hopefully, I mean, I would personally like Santa Monica to tackle that, obviously, and a single player game. When is that gonna happen now with the remakes and this on the horizon? Who knows? Like, I don't know if they're gonna restart and try to do a Atreus game at all. Obviously, they gotta be focusing somewhat on the next Kratos game as well, right? This is Valhalla sequel, the next proper God of War saga. So there's so much going on. I don't even know how they're gonna, like, what are they gonna do? If they're doing this MCU style thing, they are gonna have to outsource more games to other studios like they did with Sons of Sparta. But with Sons of Sparta, it seems like Megacat kind of came to them with that idea and they develop it mostly. So that's fine. But if they're having to, like, too many things to make, they're gonna have to use a different studio potentially, and with Bluepoint it didn't work out, obviously, so that's kind of weird. Is anyone else concerned that the fight we're getting too much God of War content? It almost feels like they're now starting to focus on quantity instead of quality. I'm certainly concerned about that. There's a lot going on with God of War. They're having at least 3 games in the pipeline with Santa Monica only. I just hope for the remakes they don't do what Yakuza does, where Yakuza 6 assets are in Yakuza 1 remake, and Halo Reach assets are in Halo 1 remaster, and they look ugly. Well, with the remakes, interesting. I don't think they're going to do that. I mean, they're going to probably reuse some of the Valhalla assets they did, but for Valhalla, they reused some of the assets from God of War 3. They reused the forum assets and some of the statues and stuff lying around, but mostly I think it's going to be a complete, from scratch remake. What do you think about Atreus' character? I think Atreus is really not a good character. He can't have a game alone. I don't agree with that. I think there's definitely a lot of issues with his characterization in Ragnarok. People don't like him, which is a big problem, honestly, for Santa Monica if they want him to have a game. Like that Bluepoint Atreus live service, that would have flopped so hard because it's all the things that people don't want. if it was an Atreus game, single player from Santa Monica, I think they would make it. He has great potential, Loki, as a character. Because of the whole Loki thing, he would like go out in the world, find the giants, right? Like explore his darker side as Loki and stuff like that. His own weapons, obviously, his own legacy. I think it could definitely be good. Like the Bluepoint game would not have done that, which is it's a good thing that's gone. But what are they gonna do? I don't know. With Atreus, very interesting. Imagine if she fights alongside Yofi, her pet falcon. That's very possible. They used Yofi or like the falcon as the what is it called? The pins in the Jotnar edition. So she's obviously like a part of the canon, even though it's from the novel. Captain Cuba, hey man, I just saw you were live. Hey man, you've been having a busy couple of weeks with all the news. I'm just kind of discussing everything. There's so much going on. Maybe there will be other Aesir gods. Definitely would be great. The ones that didn't appear in 2018, like God of the Sea and the Blind God. So you're talking about Hodder and Njord, I guess, is the God of the Sea. He's Frey and Frey's father, and he died a long time ago, I think. So I don't think he would be there. But yeah. Even the fight versus Kratos. Oh, of course. I mean, that's the end of the game. Kratos fight. Please don't turn God of War into MCU. New MCU is garbage. It's all confusing because the worry about the MCU part of it is how much Santa Monica's vision it is, right? How much Santa Monica or Corey or whoever can control all of this stuff, right? Like we discussed, the Bluepoint thing, I don't know if they had a choice in that. It sounds like Sony said, we want the God of War live service game because that's going to sell us, it'll give us all the millions and billions, right? And it seems like Santa Monica kind of drew the line at Kratos. They said, Kratos is ours, you can't use him. So Sony's like, okay, well, put Atreus in there, and we're going to make an Atreus live service game. And then somehow Hades got into the conversation. So I don't know if Santa Monica ever wanted this. With Sons of Sparta, obviously, it's different. But this, going forward, they're making the remake in-house. This is obviously in-house. The next God of War mainline game is going to be in-house, I assume. Like, how are they going to... I don't know. Cuba, where's the Faye video? I believe we'll see those new enemies from Sons of Sparta in the remakes, definitely. I don't think so. I think they're going to keep it classic. We'll be seeing more thriving Norse civilization right before the destruction. Yes, I think we're going to see the destruction. We're going to see Jormungandr fall into the lake. Cuba, man, at this point, I'm not even making a video yet. Just might be news in a couple of hours. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm making a live thing just to talk about everything because there's so much going on. We didn't even really talk about the remakes yet, but yeah, I'm really concerned for the future of this franchise. Sony is trying to make a God of War live service multiplayer game, and now there's TV show and so many prequels and spin-offs, some by other devs. Yeah, I mean, the live action show is a different beast entirely. That's like more on Amazon's side. That's not really related to what Sony is doing. Obviously, that's important for the reputation of the franchise, I guess, as a whole. But even with, how much Sony is going to push this MCU thing, we don't know right now. Obviously, they're changing course a lot with the live service failures they've been having and seemingly will continue to have. We'll see how Marathon does, but I don't know. This is a scary thing, obviously, because for me, like I keep saying, as long as Santa Monica are signing off on it as they're excited about it, it's part of their plan for the franchise, that's fine. Other studios doing God of War games, I don't mind. But as long as it comes from the creative idea, not from a desire to just use the IP for, profit, obviously. Yo, Lukey, hi. I'll get to your comment in a second. The surprise is never seen Zlatty. I forgive Atreus because he was just an angsty teen. Yeah, he was 15 in Ragnarok. But if they gave him his own game, they should rebuild his character from scratch as an adult, like what Kojima did with Raiden in Metal Gear Solid 4. Yeah, I mean, he would be an adult at this point. He would be a more mature. I'm sure whatever adventure he's going to be sent on is going to be more fucked up than Ragnarok, so I don't really doubt that. Which one would you like going forward? Souls-like gameplay or Norse or the fixed camera hack and slash approach you agree? Going forward, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm okay with them changing things up again. Like, it sounds like the Faye game is going to have different gameplay from the Norse games, which is kind of surprising, honestly. I thought they would keep the Norse style. I'm okay with them moving forward to doing something new. Like, obviously, they're experimenting with Sons of Sparta, a completely different genre. So, honestly, the answer is neither. The answer is the remakes should have the classic gameplay. And then, I mean, the Norse games, I would like another game in the Norse style, honestly. Ragnarok kind of perfected that, to be honest. And the issues for that system really started to show. But I'm okay with them just doing different kinds of things. If they're doing a more DMC combo-focused game, great. Let's do different stuff. Remake in-house is great because they're not going to do some shitty outsourcing other companies do for their remakes with what Capcom did with Resident Evil 3. Yeah, I mean, this instills a lot of confidence for me in the remakes. Everyone's like concerned they're going to modernize them in one way or another. I'm not concerned with that. I think they're going to keep it as classic and consistent as possible for several reasons. So I'm not worried about that. Luke. Bro, MCU Assassin's Creed time of change for the franchise gives me such a red flag. We don't know how old or new the statement is because this sounds like this God of War MCU thing sounds like it was from 2021 or whenever the Atreus game was greenlit. I don't know if they've since changed their attitude towards that because it's been a while. And obviously with their live service efforts yielding awful results and all the studio closures, the current conditions of the industry and of hardware, I don't know where Sony's is at, right, with that. Sons of Sparta, we'll find out how successful it is. I don't know if they're going to see it as a worthy experiment, and if it works out, then they might try and do more spin-offs, but yeah, that's certainly a concerning thing to hear. One thing that I'm curious about is Bayonetta or DMC inspired. Also, she will have new weapons or axe alone. Yeah, she has. The axe is definitely going to be there. They said she has some kind of gloves, which sounds like Thor's gloves. I don't know. There's definitely going to be giant magic stuff or whatever. So it shouldn't surprise anyone. God of War is an IP with immense potential. Faye game, Atreus game is not a bad thing as long as it's done right, TBH. I'm not against that either, right? For me, as long as they're adhering to Corey's plan, whatever it is, they're adhering to Santa Monica's vision or for quality of the franchise, that's fine, right? Sons of Sparta is a cool experiment, in my opinion. I think that we need more of that. Kind of stuff, where a studio has an idea, they play to their strengths, and they make something unique and different that adds to it, and not just, if it comes from Sony and they're like, we want more God of War because money, that's obviously not the way to approach any creative endeavor. Man, this game will be depressive with Thor killing every giant and Faye being alone. Yeah, I mean, there's so much potential, so much potential. I mean, she has Brock and Sindri, she has that relationship, so there's definitely a lot to be explored with Faye. Yeah, Faye must have a different game combat. She is not Kratos. That's true too. 2018 Ragnarok, sorry, this Souls-like, you're playing it, if you're playing it wrong, look at, no one says that it's Souls-like, I wouldn't call it that. Faye gave Atreus the bow and arrows, Kratos the axe. She's the one that set Ragnarok in motion, not Kratos and Atreus. Yeah, I mean, she's behind the whole thing, 2018 too, right? So much to explore. I don't know. I just feel like Sony is really going to try and milk the cow with God of War, and they want as many games and spin-offs as possible for money and profit. I mean, of course they would, especially right now when new IPs are as more creatively or more financially risky than ever. They're still having new IPs, fortunately, like Saros and stuff, but otherwise, I don't know. They might want to like just keep milking the franchises that they have. TC Carson said they have the next 2 decades planned out. When did he say that? And also doesn't, I don't know if that sounds true. They will definitely modernize them and probably would be washed down. I'm not so certain about that. God of War has endless creative potential if they make many games and it serves the universe well story-wise and expands on it in a fulfilling way. I don't mind. Give me as many God of War games. Yeah, well, not too many. Sony isn't making any more games for PC. Yeah, I heard that. That's very weird. Gypsy, member for 31 months. Wow. And Trippy. A lot of months, guys. Wow, that's very nice. And Luke. You guys are the best. Yeah, God of War Sons of Sparta is fun. It is fun. I'll talk about it in my review. I have issues with it for sure. But I appreciate it as an experiment. I think it's a very cool way to expand the world. Faye should not become a female Kratos, but she needs a different tone. She is kind of, I mean, there's a lot of anger in her, as we know. So she definitely has Kratos things in her a little bit, but yeah, she should be different, which is good. It's good that she's playing different. Secret Agent Clank, like her in a franchise made by other companies, are always a red flag. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Were there any? Well, again, Ready at Dawn made the PSP games, and they were pretty much exactly like the Greek games, so it's not always a bad thing, right? Bow gameplay? Yeah, for sure. There's going to be a bow stuff. Some bow stuff. No bows, please. It might be more like Kratos. It might be more like Apollo's bow thing, you know. If it's DMC, like Apollo's bow can like keep enemies up in the air. He's shooting them so fast. So maybe if they're more like that, like more insane bow combat, why not? As excited as this all can be, I think they should go slow and not overwhelmed or be overwhelmed. Yeah, the concern for me is how spread thin Santa Monica are going to be, or Corey specifically. If he is directing this game, he has this to look after. Obviously, they're monitoring and working on Sons of Sparta. That's done, obviously. The remakes are now in the pipeline. They have the TV show to monitor. Obviously, I don't know how long they're going to film that for. They ordered 2 seasons, so they might be filming for like a year. So there's a lot going on. And I just don't want them to be spread thin, really. TC Carson did say that will keep you entertained for the next 20 years in the PlayStation Showcase. I think he was like saying, oh, it's 20th anniversary. Here's the final surprise, and hopefully here's more stuff for the next 20 years. You know, I think that's kind of more of a PR thing. Do you think it will be a prequel during the time Thor was killing the giants, or something closer to when Kratos arrived in Scandinavia? Because Chris just said our project, implying he would be in it. I suspect they're gonna be like in my pitch video I made a while ago. It's pinned right now, by the way. I suggested that Faye game would benefit from time skips, so we see all of it, right? We see how she became like her arguing with the giants. The giants said, "Okay, we're gonna put ourselves into marbles and leave, and you're gonna go to Midgard and be the guardian," right? So that's one area, because Lore and Legends lines those things out pretty specifically, and there's like time skips. The Thor thing obviously is a specific time when Faye got, not Faye, Freya got banished from Asgard, and the Aesir attacked Vanaheim again. So that's specific time. Meeting Kratos should be the ending of the game. I don't think anyone really doubts that. And that's like a way after. That's like an epilogue kind of thing. So for Faye, it kind of seems more almost level-like, maybe. More stages of different, you know, as time goes on and we see her change, we see the world around her change. I think that could work. I don't know if they're really going to do a linear thing like the Norse games. You know, it might be the opposite, actually. I was expecting it to be the sixth game with the surviving gods hunting Kratos, Freya, and Atreus seeking revenge against them, exploring 8 Norse realms after Ragnarok in the DLC. I think the next God of War mainline game is gonna have some Norse stuff, but mostly is gonna be a new mythology. They're gonna do Egypt or whatever with Kratos. It seems like that's how it's shaping up to be right now. I low key rather a Freya game. Interesting. We know you, Luke. We know what you like. Based on the Vanir AC or War, gameplay wise, Freya would be more fun with magic abilities. That's true, but Faye also has magic, so it would be cool to have Kratos the final boss in the game. I mean, come on, the game writes itself. Like that's how you end it. Smoldering decay, take your breath away, and then it disappears. Kara word blackened. I mean, we don't know all her abilities exactly. Where did the DMC claims come from? Yeah, some leaker said that. I don't know if that's true, really. Phase X combat would feel different from Kratos's. Yeah, I mean, with the more DMC kind of style of combat, she's probably more swirling around because the axe is like, the axe can go fast, and she's much faster and more nimble than Kratos, who's like a very tanky, heavy guy. So that makes sense, honestly. It's just confusing how unnatural she's gonna look. I mean, Faye jumping around like Greek Kratos. It's interesting to imagine, honestly. Who do we think is the director for the remakes? That's a great question. Bruno, I don't know what he's doing right now because he made Valhalla. Obviously, either Corey or Ariel Lawrence are making the Faye game. Eric is hanging around. He's like the creative director. I don't know what Bruno's role is. I mean, he would be my choice for the remakes because he obviously brought Greek stuff back into the Norse games very successfully with Valhalla. Mihir doesn't work with Santa Monica anymore, but Bruno would be my choice, honestly, for this. Separate director for each game's remake. One person directing all 3 remakes. I don't think that makes sense. I think it's one project, so it's going to have one team. They're going to dedicate one, probably smaller team at this point to like pre-production. And at this point, if their goal is to bring the Greek games to the modern consoles, I think they're going to try and keep things as intact as possible. So I think one director is enough. Faye as a character is not too well known, given the divided fan base, but with this game's immense potential, it would win all God of War fans completely, man. The conflicted thing is, I think if we see gameplay and it's awesome, they're going to see Cory Barlog's name on it. That instills a lot of confidence into whatever project Santa Monica is making. I think widely Cory is kind of the guy, known. Obviously, he's not the sole creative director at the studio who's capable of making great games, but obviously he's kind of the face of the franchise at this point. So I don't really doubt that this game is going to be exciting, for people. If people are worried that it's a female protagonist, I mean, that's the most... wow, this comment. Okay. Bruno. That's good. Booby. Hi, Steven. How are you doing? Will Mimir be trapped in the tree throughout the Faye game? I think he gets trapped somewhere in the middle. I think there's a chance to see him in his body. That would be very exciting, honestly. I mean, if they want to make it like Assassin's Creed, where you play as different assassins each time, it would make more sense to play as Tyr. That way we could keep the God of War title. I mean, I don't know if they care about the God of War title at this point, because this game is not going to be God of War. It's going to be like Faye or Law Faye the Just. That's what I would call it. And have in my pitch that's linked up top. Where did the Assassin's Creed stuff come from? I think Cuba made a video. I think it's like Jason Schreier's article said it's like the MCU, but I think Jim Ryan said that he wants God of War to be like Assassin's Creed, which is honestly even the worst way to say that the MCU, to be honest. AI companion? Good question. I don't know if Faye will have... I mean, the Brock and Sindri are companions that already exist in Ragnarok, so that's a possibility. Freya, we know Faye met Freya from Ragnarok, so she could be a companion as well. That would be interesting. So it's definitely possible. Also, Freya, wasn't she married to Odin during Faye's time? Yeah, so she got banished while Faye was doing her stuff. So there's so much things to explore, like with the wider Norse world. Unlike God of War 3 in 2018, I hope we see the transition to a new mythology, like physically how they go from it. I think it's very possible, considering Kratos is the Norse God of War now. I think they would start off as him in the God of War, as God of War in the Norse realms, and then transition to the new mythology, whatever that is. Aren't there leaks talking about making franchise about different characters each time, like Assassin's Creed? Yeah, I don't know. There's so many leaks. We don't know what's true. We don't know if it's holding up. Maybe it's from 5 years ago. Clearly, I mean, the thumbnail is like Kratos. I mean, Kratos never gonna stop. Atreus spin-off that canceled. Faye game. So there's definitely, they're kind of doing, I mean, I wouldn't call it the MCU, but it's definitely more like, you know, Kratos' family, they're all getting, they're all playable. So that's kind of the expansion of the franchise, which is the best way to do it. Not like, I mean, a tier game would be awesome, but having an Atreus game, a Kratos game, and a Faye game, like all of the family, that would be pretty awesome, honestly. The DMC5 gameplay of the Faye game is what won me over. If that's true, then it's day one purchase. I still believe the main reason why decided to remake the Greek games to apply that gameplay. I'm hoping that the gameplay is more classic God of War than DMC5. I mean, they're pretty similar, obviously, but I don't want like more focus on combos and like styling and stuff like that. It's definitely possible in God of War, but I don't want them to touch the system, honestly. Like the Greek system, they nailed it, you know. Bruno and Mihir co-directing the remakes would be peak. Yeah, Mihir isn't working in Santa Monica, so Bruno's kind of the man for that. Speculation pinned. You can pin the pitch if you want. Oh, I pinned the speculation. My bad. Thank you, Flip Flop, for this fact. The story revolving about Thor wiping out the giant sounds very interesting, for sure. Considering Faye can see the future, there's a lot they could do there. So many different themes and plot points and concepts. Exactly. Kratos is a meathead, and Athena and Faye took complete advantage of him. Well, the difference is that Faye, even though she basically manipulated him, she actually loved him and wanted him to succeed, right? That's the difference. She didn't want them to follow their fate. She wanted to get rid of Odin, but also have her husband and son be happy, right? That's what happens in Ragnarok. Atreus finds his purpose, Kratos finds his purpose in being the god of war, and they are able to stop Odin for good and basically do what Faye wanted to. So that's kind of the difference, right? I mean, with Athena, Kratos is a very gullible guy. Gaia, like, tricked him as well, so... But I want to see Kratos arriving at the Northlands. That's possible, right? The hooded woman thing with the three wolves from the novels, that's something very weird. I don't know if it's canon anymore. So that's definitely something they could explain, at least. Do you think we'll see a bit more of Kratos and how he got to Scandinavia? Oh, well, I'm talking about that right now. I mean, that's kind of weird because unless Faye is behind his arrival, there isn't really no reason to show it in the Faye game because they met like decades after Kratos arrived in the Northlands, canonically, because it's a Faye game, not a Kratos game. So I think they might explain more. If the novel thing is canon, they're probably going to touch on it. In the games, they're kind of like, yeah, he just rode there on the boat and he just showed up. So unless it's, you know, maybe it's not canon anymore, I don't know. They're just like the Incredibles. They really are. Atreus is like Dash. Yeah. Would killing Kratos be ever possible? Transferring the blaze to someone else than Loki? No. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. The Ragnarok was the time for that. I don't think they're killing Kratos anytime soon. How about a first-person Mimir game of him just like sitting at in the tree, stuck in the tree? Makes sense. The Greek system does a really good balance of combat in terms of comboing and regular fun. Yeah, 100%. Shame Mihir isn't as SMS. I need Ragnarok's inertia mechanics to be in the next game. Well, the combat teams is there. I think Rob Mayer is the combat lead now. at Santa Monica, and he was like kind of under me here during Ragnarok. So I don't doubt that the systems that they had in place for Ragnarok will be addressed or like used in this game. So I'm not really worried. I mean, the combat was always excellent in God of War. There's like that's the thing to be not worried about. Um, no, I meant that what you said about wanted the game to come out and to be blah blah blah. Sup, hi Dean, sup Dean. My hope is that the tone for this game was more serious than Ragnarok. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. Obviously, Sons of Sparta was a little more silly, but that's a game about kids and also like a fairy tale. So it's a little more silly with like the monkeys and the Kirkopis and so on. So I don't know. This sounds like a very depressing game, all things considered, with the genocide, with this anger, with Faye's depression. Hopefully, it's a little more introspective and a little less serious because it happens during a war and genocide. Barlock said Ragnarok is one big misdirection, and I think we're about to find out. I hope so. I mean, we're about to find out everything. Shout out me here, one of the goats. No more one-shot camera, please. It was cool at first, but enough. I think it's they're gonna move away from that. I think it really worked for 2018. That's what Corey wanted. In Ragnarok, it really started showing its cracks, and I think a change of pace and something different would be good. I think Corey doesn't want to really dwell on the same stuff over and over, so that makes sense. One thing I look forward to is them abandoning the one-shot camera. Yeah, same thing. One of the mysteries I most want to know about the Norse franchise is who the new Valkyries being created will be and what happened to Thor's daughter were the three dragons that disappeared in 2018. Yeah, so in Valhalla, they pretty much confirmed Kratos is like, yeah, Thrud is great, make her a shield maiden, and what's her name? Sigrun is like, cool, great, we'll do it. So we know that Thrud is gonna become a Valkyrie. Who are the new Valkyries gonna be? Who's gonna lead them? That's a good question. Oh, well, Frey, obviously, but aside from that. So that's a question for the next God of War Kratos game. I don't even know when we're gonna talk about that. That's not even on the radar anymore because we have all this other stuff to discuss and other stuff that's coming out. And I also really want to know how hell the Loki's daughter will be born. Yeah. So there's even afterwards, even after all of this, if they're making a Atreus game, there's all this stuff with Faye to talk. With Hell to show with Angerboda. Loki becoming Loki, Kratos being the god of war. They're focusing on this prequel right now, but there's so much stuff to show in the future as well. Who blew the horn mid? I think it's Brock and Sindri. That sounds silly, obviously, but I think who else would it be? I don't. If it's not time travel stuff, like Brock and Sindri make the most sense because they are no Faye, and there's some secretive stuff about Faye going on, and they were around in Midgard at the time. They don't speak the ancient language, but also whatever. I don't know. So we're definitely gonna find out in this game. Trust me, they won't tell us who blew the horn. No, I think they will. I think this is the time. This is the time they're gonna show us. Trust me, they won't tell us. With Faye, Falcon, Yofi make an appearance, what do you think? It's very possible. I think it's totally possible. I don't know how they will do it gameplay wise. Maybe it'll be a companion kind of thing, or I don't want it to be a bird like Assassin's Creed. That doesn't make sense. But Yofi would be cool to see in live, not in live action. Maybe in live action. I don't know if it's in the novel, so maybe they're gonna put the bird in the TV show, but probably not. I hope they address all the Norse criticisms, which they will. Serious tone, more spectacle, and maybe open world, considering how ambitious this game is. Yeah, the world is interesting, right? Because it's the same stuff. We saw all 9 realms in Ragnarok, and they're obviously going to change it, but we'll see. We'll see how much they really change. And if they're doing open world stuff, they will definitely need to think about traversal and things like that. It's going to be fascinating. If it's DMC style, those are pretty linear, aren't they? So that might be actually the opposite. They're going to do a much more classic kind of Greek God of War style narrative. I remember Corey saying he loves to foreshadow things that won't happen until much, much later. Yeah, I mean, Cuba has been focusing on that. Like, we've known some shit's been going on. Like, Ragnarok wasn't it, Like, they said it's the end of the Norse saga. Eric said there's going to be no DLC for Ragnarok than there was, obviously. So they just lie. They lie about what's happening, and it's fine. Honestly, I'm okay with them lying because that way we don't know, and it's exciting. So I think we're going to finally find out what the vision's been for the Norse story, because Ragnarok is like, what's happening? Why did this happen like this? And they're finally going to kind of put everything is gonna like go be put into place, because Faye, we're gonna finally find out what her deal is and everything surrounding her. How many times do you think Odin transformed into other beings? A lot, many times. I mean, we see him at least 3 times, I think, during Ragnarok, and transform into a different person. Would you prefer they work on the main Kratos game before they make an Atreus game? At this point, it's very confusing. At this point, I don't know what's going on with the Atreus game. Like, is it even happening? Obviously, I would prefer Kratos game next, because Kratos is the best. And I'd much rather see more Kratos than the Atreus spin-off. But maybe, the Bluepoint game was canceled. I don't know what their vision for Atreus really is at this point. Have you seen the video about Jormungandr speaks about Sindri, but the captions are different? I've seen the video with all the translations for the Jormungandr stuff. I didn't see anything about him talking about Sindri. Personally, I'm not very excited. I want the franchise to move in the future with Egypt and adult Atreus game. That's understandable. That's totally understandable. We're getting 2 prequels in a row, interestingly, with this and Sons of Sparta. But I like the Norse stuff. I want to dwell on it. Obviously, that's the reason I fell in love with the series. My name, my title, please. Norse stuff, more and more Norse stuff. I mean, moving on to Egypt or whatever other stuff they want to do is exciting, but I need like that one more Norse game to like flesh out all the stuff, all the things they introduced, all the characters they introduced and killed off. Also, like this I'm very excited about this. We do the prequel and then move forward with Kratos and Atreus, could Mimir become a Valkyrie? He had a relationship with Zeke. Yeah, I mean, if Lunda makes him like a robot winged body and he can fly around, brother, that would be good. Mimir Valkyrie boss fight. He's the final boss fight of the next God of War game. Mimir's going to turn evil and we're going to have to fight Valkyrie Mimir. That sounds great. I don't think there's Spacing World Serpent is who most think he is. I think he's tied to Brock. I don't know if that makes much sense, but okay. I think either Athena or Faye blew the horn. Who blew him? Atreus and Kratos are too obvious and expected, but Faye and Athena would have that wow factor. Athena is not physical, so I don't know how she can blow anything. Faye, I think time travel stuff is very complicated. It can cause a lot of issues with like characters just showing up in the present. If Faye went forward in time and blew the horn during 2018, what stops her from literally just going forward in time after Ragnarok and just hanging out with Kratos and Atreus as adults, right? Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So it's either someone we know who's tied to Faye or some new character we don't know about who like they retcon into this game. So I don't know. I don't know. I want to see Midgard full of life. I am full of life. I'm so lively, aren't I? I like the look and the vibe of Midgard in 2018, but I want to see full of people in a different light. 100%. Like, that's so exciting. Like, obviously seeing all the gods, all the people, seeing the giants, seeing Vanaheim thrive as well. Like, all the realms are fucked up in Ragnarok in 2018. I want to see them, alive. Yeah, that would be awesome. That's like one of the main reasons I'm excited for this game. I want to see the classic, like the 9 realms that Mimir described in 2018. Do you think there's a chance that a prequel game will be about Thor? In fact, when Tyr was in person in Niflheim, Odin could appoint Thor as the new god of war. Very interesting. In some myths, he's called that. I don't think it's a Thor game. I think Thor is going to be an... Corey's been talking about making a Faye story for so long, and her story has been set up. I think Thor is going to be much more of an, obviously, antagonist in this game, much more of a classic bloodthirsty God of War kind of antagonist. I think that just works better for the game and for the story, because like fighting a Thor who's like even more fucked up than the Ragnarok Thor, that would be very exciting. Hello, dude. I used to be a guy named Captain Grease. Oh, shit. Yeah, I remember. Back in the day, like 4 years ago. You probably don't remember, but I missed that era. No, of course I remember, man. Nice to see you here. Odin is posing as Mimir. No, he's not. Do you think they'll change some story aspects with the remakes? Good question. I'm gonna make a video about it. The only thing I think they're gonna tinker with, if they change the story, is make them a little more cohesive as one narrative, because obviously when they made them they didn't have the context, but especially with God of War 1, they could tie it in more with the rest of the series, because it's a little separate right now with the designs of the gods and with like more foreshadowing, I think, in terms of what Kratos was like and will be like as a God of War. I think the story of Kratos and Athena can be a little more cohesive. I think her turn to be evil in God of War 3 is very out of nowhere. I think that's kind of could be explored more, because their relationship is kind of the crux of the narrative in the Greek saga. So those kinds of things I think they could focus on a little bit more, but otherwise they're definitely keeping things pretty much as they were. If you listen carefully in Ragnarok, you can hear him say Sindri the first time Atreus and Sindri meet him. I don't know. I mean, what what's his name? What Jormungandr says, no one can really translate, because everyone's like, he's saying, "I know you, Ghost of Sparta" in 2018. It's not true. Like, we don't know what he's saying. You know, it's all speculation. It's been a long time coming. We've had no more God of War games and more DLCs for the Ragnarok game, and unfortunately, we haven't had anything yet. I thought we'd get a maximum of 3 DLCs. I don't want any more DLCs for Ragnarok. I want them to move on. We need a PS5 God of War game properly, you know? Like, Sons of Sparta is one technically, but you know what I mean. But I'm happy we're getting a prequel game. Yeah, Valhalla is the one DLC that's totally cool. God of War doesn't really do DLCs like that, so I have a theory about the Atreus game by Bluepoint isn't canon or a separate thing, while SMS do their own canon game. I don't think that makes any sense. If they were told to have a Bluepoint God of War game, obviously Santa Monica is going to be involved with this, and makes sense. It's cohesive. That's in Sony's interest as well, because why would they make 2 different Atreus games? That's like very confusing. I don't think they really do that kind of thing. Kratos still hasn't told Atreus what he did to his first family. I think he did, we just didn't see it. Is the music still playing? Video pause. No, it's not. Okay. Okay. I still think it's not impossible that Odin has been disguised as Faye the entire time. so he bore Atreus, right? So Odin is Atreus' mother. Okay, that's very interesting. Great theory. We'll think of a Lawfake game will be short with a quick and concise story. Will be released in next year, 2027. Well, that's the rumor, right? But I don't know how long or short it's gonna be, because it's a full-on, Quarry game, allegedly. We don't know how long he's been working on it. He's planned it since 2019 at least. So I would like it to be about the same size as the Norse games. 2018 more than Ragnarok. Ragnarok is a little too massive. Yeah, them going more in depth and fleshing out without changing major plots would be cool. Yeah. Is Hades going to help us in the new God of War 1? Because he will... We kill his beautiful queen in Chains of Olympus. Well, yeah, that's a good question with the retcons. I mean, I think it would be interesting to kind of play on that a little bit. Like, the gods are forced to help Kratos, right? Because this quest to kill Ares is, the whole entire Olympus is at stake. Zeus's power is at stake, so he's telling the gods to go like, hey, Poseidon, you need to give him your power, rage of the gods, whatever. Artemis give him the blade. Hades, like, reluctantly would have to give him his magic, even though in the novel Athena's kind of doing that. I don't know if that really makes sense. I think it's the gods are basically forced to give Kratos their powers, which would be interesting to kind of be like, Hades hates Kratos because he killed his wife, but at the same time he has no choice but to help him because of the mission that Kratos is on at the moment. Of course, this is my sick idea, but it would be cool if Zeus returned and met Kratos. Zeus is never coming back. I'm sorry. It would be cool if father and son reconciled. Of course, this would never happen, but it would be cool. Yeah, I mean that. It's interesting to explore this kind of thing, but no one's. I don't. Zeus is not coming back. Do we even know for sure it's a prequel? No, but that's the assumption. God of War assumption. Do you think Faye and Thor are related? They have the same hair color, both have Jotnar blood, and equally strong. I know that's a theory. It's not impossible. Obviously, what's her name? Thor's mother's name, I don't remember. Something something. It's not impossible. I don't know. It sounds a little soap opera-ish to have like two siblings fighting about it. I think it's just Faye is upset that Thor's killing the giant kind. I think that's sufficient. Obviously, they both have ginger hair, so I mean, sure, it's not necessary, but it would be very cool. If I mean, it would be cool regardless. I don't need them to be siblings for their relationship to be interesting, you know? Interesting, brother. Thank you. Atreus does not have Spartan Rage. When he cools down, he has Face Ashes animation, not Kratos' animation. I mean, he had Spartan Rage in 2018, and that kind of evolved into him shape-shifting in Ragnarok, which is more of a giant magic. I think the yellow sprinkles is the giant magic. We see it when he like uses his handprint to like create the barrier or whatever. I think the yellow is just the color of the giants, so they're kind of showing that Atreus' powers are growing, but it's stemming from his rage, right? The bear and the wolf, that kind of thing. It's stemming from Kratos' rage. So this game will set up the next mainline God of War game. That's possible. That's possible. I mean, it sounds like it's fleshing out the Norse games as they are. I don't know if they're gonna really. I'm sure there's gonna be hints toward what's happening next, but it's mostly like a prequel, obviously. Fjorgen, yeah, thank you. Also, Faye in the past definitely not be a good person as she is right now. Yeah, she's gonna be very flawed. I think she's gonna have to learn a lot of humility, especially from the creator. She's gonna kill people with this fight, and I think there's gonna be very much a wake-up moment for her. Kratos may have to kill his own son and keep that cycle going before they go to Egypt. No, they're not doing that ever again. I'm sorry, man. That like goes against the entire point of the Norse saga. That's never happening. Faye game has so much potential for completely throwing everything off balance if they wanted to. Everything's already kind of balanced. I don't know. We'll see in what ways Corey like saying everything's a misdirection. I don't know. Like we'll find out. I guess I don't know what's to throw off really. Kratos. The thing is that Faye is mortal while Thor is a god, so it wouldn't make sense. Yeah, so that's interesting, right? So giants, we don't know anything about giants really. Like the giants that we saw, Atreus is a god, Angerboda and Gryla. I mean, they don't seem particularly powerful to like obviously match Thor. The Leviathan seems to be kind of the source of her power a lot of the time. She has the weapon to wield that gives her the ability to deal with Mjolnir. But yeah, there's some kind of force she needs to have that's stronger than just a regular giant to be able to go against Thor, and maybe that's what we're going to find out. I don't know. That means Brock is back, guys. We won. It's very possible. We know Sindri's coming back because the actor spoiled it on accident like years ago. So Brock coming back makes perfect sense. They're like hinting at it in Ragnarok. She's like, I'm not going to tell you what my relationship is. You know, sorry for that impression. But bet on it now. Put $50 on Brock coming back. Trust me. Why would the World Serpent upgrade Kratos' axe when he threw it into the lake at 9? And that's why I think he's tied to Brock. I mean, it's the Aether thing of the poison. I don't know yet. It's kind of didn't end up playing a role in Ragnarok besides like having the cut on Thor's belly, but maybe it's gonna some kind of. Is Corey a troll that cannot be trusted? Corey is a troll that cannot be trusted. He's an actual troll in Ragnarok. But yeah, a full of gods Corey borrowing Norse game is a literal perfection. We'll see. We'll see what it is. We'll see how many new gods we're gonna see. That's I'm holding off excitement regarding new characters because we're not sure. You know, we thought every Aesir in the world is gonna show up in Ragnarok. That didn't happen. What do you think Faye's Jotun's rage would be like? That's a great question. We don't know her abilities. I don't think she can shapeshift like Atreus, so it's not going to be that. It's not going to be like Spartan rage because she's not a god. So unless it's just, it's probably more magic oriented, right? So she would have some kind of, I don't know, rage of the ancestors or some shit like that. I don't know. Listen, what do you? That's what you think. And why is it that when some Greek gods die, nothing happens, and when Kratos kills Poseidon, all the water floods Greece? How can this be explained smoothly? I think that depends on the power of the god and the domain, right? Poseidon is the second most powerful god in Olympus. The ocean is like 2/3 of the world and his domain that goes out of control. We see other gods, like every god's death has ramifications, but like Ares is the god of war. How do you show the world deprived of war, right? Like that physically, like doesn't that mean that wars stop until Kratos became the god of war and there's wars again? Like it depends on what the god is, right? Like Poseidon is the god of the ocean, so his death affects the ocean, and that's a very physical demonstration, while other gods like god of war, what does that even mean? Like how can like you physically show that? How can the world change, right? Or Apollo says the god of light, what does that mean? Like not physical light, because Helios is the god of the sun, but like Apollo is the god of music and prophecy and medicine. Like are all these things affected? Like that's kind of how it's explained, I think. In Ragnarok, people in Asgard's hall talk about Forseti investigating the kitchen because he thinks someone's trying to poison Thor. Yeah, that was Aether poison from the axe. Yeah, I mean, but again, like the axe actually being imbued with Aether didn't really affect the story directly, only like as an Easter egg kind of with the, what's the word? With the wound. I believe Faye in her game will be a reflection of Kratos in God of War 3. Watch my video. That's what I'm talking about, exactly. Doing fucked up shit that she'll later regret. Yeah, 100%. There's going to be parallels all the time. I hope they keep the brutality in the new remake the same as before and don't reduce it to justify what they said, that he was good and misfortune befell him. No, but the point of Valhalla, like Tyr says it. The exercise is not to forgive Kratos or to justify his actions, is to say that there's more than just the violence, right? The violence was definitely there. That's what they're saying, but there was more to it, right? Than just he was more, three-dimensional as a character, basically. But the violence is going to be there. I like without the violence, there's no point. And also, the Norse games are violent as hell. I don't think they're going to really deal with that. Like, they're not going to mess with that for, both thematic reasons and also, obviously, because the fans want that. In Ragnarok, people... okay, I read that. Can we all agree that final boss will be Kratos? Yes, we can. I don't think Faye will even really died. I don't think she told anyone... everyone she was. I think she told everyone she was, but she had someone take her soul out and put it in the light of Alheim. That's why we see her empty marble. I mean, she didn't go into the marble because she wanted to sacrifice herself to for the Kratos and Atreus journey to begin, right? As the motivation to put them on the path, right? How she dies and why she dies, I think we're definitely gonna see, but whether it's on purpose, how she does it, whether she dies on naturally or some kind of reason she kills her, I can't say it on YouTube, but that's gonna be interesting to discover for sure. If the final boss is Kratos, I want a DMC5 style with Dante as a boss is so tough. Yeah, I mean, having Kratos as a final boss, I mean, it makes perfect sense, man. Check your music. Yeah, thank you. It keeps oh oh no, not the logic. Okay, let me go back here. Now it's not playing. Okay. All right. I'm gonna wrap up pretty soon. I got places to be in. We've been yapping for quite a bit. They should give Faye a few mini games with dudes as a parallel to Kratos. Yeah, I don't know about that one, man. I don't think that's gonna happen. Sorry. I remember on launch of 2018, the Aether was an actual item upgrade that you could see in the inventory, but it was hidden later with a patch. That's very interesting. I genuinely hope in a Faye game we get to see Kratos and her meeting for the first time. 100% is going to happen. As a boss fight, yep. There's a feeling that Forseti will assemble the local Sinister Six of the deities. Atreus will feel like Peter Parker. I mean, Atreus is gone. It's going to be Kratos who's going to have to deal with the Aesir. But the idea of like Asgard being upset with how Ragnarok went makes a lot of sense to me, and showing some gods who are upset and want like basically the power they had before Ragnarok to be back, that makes sense to me. So it's Kratos being Batman more than anything, you know? Yeah, there's definitely more to Odin too. Odin, I really want him to be back. I think this game would be really cool if he was back. I think one of the soul bits in Odin is a Hugin or in Mimir. No, all four soul bits are in the marble that Sindri crushed. It's very visible. Skip the logic collab. Yeah, no thanks. Thoughts on the logic collab? No, thank you. Or he's just disguised as Mimir. No, he's not. Also, since it's going to be a PS5 exclusive, I want to see them fully using the realm transportation. Yeah, that's going to be interesting how they're going to deal with that. Odin. Where did it say gameplay was going to be hack and slash? I saw someone say RPG, so which one? I mean, the gameplay rumors are unfounded. I don't know, like Nate the Hate, whatever his face is. I don't know what he knows, really. I don't know what's his track record is regarding that kind of thing. I hope it's not RPG. I'm not the biggest fan of the RPG mechanics, so more action adventure focused would be preferred for me. Odin can definitely come back in the future too. I am not a fan of that idea. I will be honest with you, because I don't like characters coming back to life. Like Kratos comes back to life, that's his thing. Odin's death is extremely thematically significant because that means the realms are finally free, right? Like Mimir's freedom, like Freya's revenge, right? All of that is so significant. And obviously, like Death of Brock and Retribution from Sindri are all so significant to their stories that Odin coming back would definitely nullify a lot of that. I don't want that to happen. And considering that this seemingly prequel is coming out where we can see more of Odin, what they're like, more of Thor, the death of Thor and Odin being more final makes more sense now, right? If they wanted to do more Norse stuff and bring these characters back, I mean, if they didn't make this prequel, that would be one thing, right? But considering that we have this prequel game where they can show all these Aesir again, I don't really know if there is a purpose really to bring Thor or Odin back. I would not like that, to be honest. Yo, I got a super chat. Thank you so much. The 76th Doctor. Wow. I think Atreus in ancient Mesopotamia makes more sense than Egypt, Arabic, or Babylonian. And folklore has giants as well. Egypt does not. That's very cool. That's very interesting. I mean, yeah, I'm all for wacky. Everyone's expecting certain pantheons, like obviously Egypt, Celtic, Japan are really the big three. But something like Mesopotamia would be very interesting. I'm not particularly familiar with it, but I mean, we don't know what's going on with the Atreus game. He was going to go to Greece. That's what we know. Are they going to change that? I think I would like them to. I don't think he needs to go to Greece necessarily. Obviously, this kind of a seems like a more of a fan service kind of idea to have like, oh, we bring Atreus to Greece so people will want to play the game because it's live service. So, what do you think the whole story will lead to in theory? Will there be a modern world? Will be like David Chappie's crew and Kratos who becomes Death? No. I mean, I don't think they're going to do a modern day thing in a long time. I think there's going to be an expansion of Pantheons or the God of War world, as it were. You know, the next saga, like when they move forward in the timeline, I think they're going to like open up the world a lot because Kratos is the God of War and Tyr went all over the world. There's so many hints. I think they're just going to show what the world, the earth of God of War is like, all the Pantheons, how it works. And then there's going to be some kind of conflict, obviously. I don't think there's going to be really, for a long time, any definitive ending. I mean, it's not against the possibility that Kratos would make it to modern day, but it's not going to happen in a long, long time, if ever. How long will this game be? That's a good question. I mean, I would like it to be as long as the God of War 2018, let's say. I don't understand why Corey would continue the Norse Pantheon after it ended in such a disappointing manner. I wanted something completely new. Well, this is a prequel, so we'll find out what the idea is with the Norse gods, right? And whether there is reason for not showing them or for keeping them alive, who's alive. We don't know any of that yet. Could we possibly see this in Summer Game Fest? State of Play in the summer, they usually don't. It's either going to be a summer showcase of some kind. Maybe Sony will be doing their own thing, or it's just going to be its own announcement, because this is big enough for just to be revealed on its own. I don't think they're going to give it to Jeff because this is Sony's like biggest thing. I don't think they want them to like kind of steal this thunder, I guess. What do you think this whole yeah, already somehow effing gratitude is back? I mean, that'd be great. Effing gratitude is back. Yeah, glad they're not doing a Trace Distress gimmick. They were never gonna do that. The whole point of Atreus' arc in Ragnarok is that he's his own adult now, and he's able to like withstand all the dangers of the world. And if he gets kidnapped and Kratos has to go save him, it doesn't make any sense. Let's not do Japan after Shadow's discourse. Let's not do that. We got a bunch of Japan samurai games. Yeah, I think they're not going to do Japan because Ghost of Tsushima and Yote are kind of taking that niche within PlayStation Studios, so I don't think they would really want to like aesthetically clash those, but I would really like a Japan game. The measure of the measure of a man who what he does with power. Yeah, I mean, iconic. We've also gotten hints of Mesopotamian pantheon. Overall, the Persian king and chains of the Persians and Mesopotamia share pantheon after all. Very interesting. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a part of the world. To what extent, like, they can go anywhere. That's the thing, right? That's you can speculate to no end about where they could bring the series next. I don't really keep up with the reviews, but I love the Ragnarok and I have no idea so many people were disappointed until this stream. Yeah, a lot of people were disappointed. I mean, some people thought it was bloated. Some people thought there was too much story, like stuff like Ironwood and Atreus' gameplay brought the pace down a lot. There's a lot going on. I am definitely much more of a Ragnarok enjoyer than a lot of other people in the community, but there's definitely some disdain for that game, and I think there's definitely some valuable criticism that can be derived from how Ragnarok was received, that hopefully, mostly in terms of pacing and volume of stuff in the story that needs to be addressed with this game. Do you think Freyr survived? Has survived being burned before? No, the Asgard exploded. Again, Freyr's death is kind of like a parallel for Freyr's story to progress, so I don't think he's coming back. But he could be in this game, because everyone loves Freyr. The first game I ever played was What do you think the hooded woman is? Could it be Calliope? Calliope is dead. I don't think it's Calliope. I don't know if that's canon anymore because they keep showing just Kratos arriving on a boat and not with the wolves. So I don't know if that's really happening. The hooded woman. My first video ever is about Angerbolda being a time traveler. I thought it could be adult Angerbolda, or it's Faye. Those are really the two options. So we'll see. If they're gonna touch on it in this game, then yeah, that's probably Faye. If not, then I don't think it really matters. Or maybe it's not canon at all anymore. Lore-wise, it would make sense for the Mesopotamian pantheon to be the first one to be worshipped by humans. Was the first civilization in human history. Yeah, you're bringing up great arguments. I wouldn't be against that at all. You're so right. I completely blocked out the whole Loki section from my brain. That really was a slow section. You're right. Yeah, that's why everyone's kind of hesitant to have an Atreus game, but those kind of issues will definitely be addressed in an Atreus game. Atreus time travel to young Kratos and be the Spartan Atreus. Not to spoil anything, but we know that's not true anymore, canonically. There's so much talk about Faye prequel game. Why doesn't anyone talk about Lysandra prequel game? Well, it's like if they had a Lysandra game, God of War game, it would be like Sims. It would be like take care of the daughter, cook the dish, because she's a Spartan woman. She didn't really get up to very much. I mean, unless she was someone like Faye, but it's implied in Sons of Sparta that she was not particularly any different than any normal person. So I don't know, that would be a particularly exciting game, but why not? After God of War 2, enough time travel gimmicks, man. I agree. That was a mess. People are still like, what happened to the second Kratos? Blah, blah, blah. So, especially with like the ramifications of time traveling, like how that makes sense, it's always hard to make sense of it. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to deal with that, if at all. The hooded woman's holding the mask in the artwork. I never noticed that. I don't know if did Cuba talk about that or something like this? Maybe. We need a Captain Cuba prequel game. Said before the Demiurge and Monad parts the higher plane theory collapsed, Lord Cuba's descent of madness. Yeah, I mean, the Rift and Athena thing is turning out to be true apparently, which is very interesting. I don't know if it's Gnosticism. I doubt they're gonna deal with that, but something's going on with that, obviously. So we'll see if it's not this game, it's gonna be in the future, or maybe they canceled it at all, like altogether, because that scene got cut. Now the Atreus game is gone, so we don't know what's going on with that. I really want face combat as interesting and fun as Black Myth Wukong have done. I mean, that's withdraw, modifying, cancel points, upgrades in the upgrade system. Yeah, we'll see. Captain Cuba was the Balls Captain, would go hard. Yeah, the Ball Captain prequel. Cuba does not think it's Gnosticism anymore. I mean, I don't think he ever thought that. It just makes sense within the God of War kind of cosmology, if we're talking about real life influences. Gotta go, going for a walk. Much love, Mid and Chad. It's been fun. Make sure to check on ya. Love you ones. That's so true, Trippy. Also, I think I'm gonna stop here, honestly. We've been talking for a while. We kind of exhausted this whole topic. It's very exciting. There's so much going on, man. Let's see, what we talk about today. We'll see what more they're gonna do. This is a little concerning. Bluepoint thing, what an embarrassment for Sony. Very sad for Bluepoint. Glad the Atreus live action game is not happening. So that Chris Judge spoiled things about the summer. We know it's a big game at this point. Shame on whoever did that, on the YouTuber who did that. Yeah, and the Faye game, which is crazy. This summer. What a year, guys. What a month for news. And Sons of Sparta and remakes. So, when will Cuba and Zesty merge into one and become Zesty Captain Midgard? Hopefully by the summer. That's the projection for us. And John Ford is also going to be. We're going to be Zesty Captain Midgard Ford. Do we know about where we are when we see Gross Prophecy? You can see two eyes, giant ones. So that is what is it called? So the thing Atreus finds himself before Ironwood, it's called the Utengard, right? It's kind of like a heaven for giants. That might be explored in this game as well. But it's kind of aesthetically the same. It's like basically a part of the soul. It's a part of the soul of Ymir, the first giant. So I think it's kind of, it represents his eyes looking down on the us, like Ymir, the creator of the Norse world. So I think that's kind of what it's supposed to be. I think it's very possible it's isn't a Norse game fully. With Faye, I don't know. Faye game probably would be Norse. Kratos game or anything else, probably not. So, with that, I thank you very much for. Okay, I'm gonna stop this. Thank you very much for stopping by. There's a lot to talk about. Be seeing it. Be seeing it. There's the God of War. Ryan Hurst is the God of War. Ryan Hurst, if he's in the Faye game and the live action game is coming, series is coming out, he's gonna be the face God of War. Thanks for the stream. Thank you very much, Flip Flop Kitty, and everyone else for stopping by. Expect the Son of Sparta review eventually. Then I'm going to do a references video for Sons of Sparta. Then I'm going to talk about the remakes. And then I'm going to go back to that big project I was working on that needs to be reworked now because Sons of Sparta changed some stuff. Will it be one Faye game though? Maybe. Bye, brother. Skull. Thank you, chat. Do more of these, please. I'll try and stream more. I am just moved in. I'm in the void, so I don't know when I'm gonna stream again. But I would like to stream more casually and continue my God of War streams, like the very hard ones and stuff like that. Thank you very much. Peace and deuces, and go forth in the